Congratulations, Goblet of Fire! You are no longer the worst movie in the Harry Potter universe. I am the Kaiju no Kami, and this is my Quickie review of Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald is, of course, the sequel to Fantastic Beasts, the first one. It takes place in 1927, which I believe is 2 years after the original movie. And it sets up for what's going to basically take place later on in the movies and how everything's going to be set into the Harry Potter universe. We get to see a young Dumbledore. We get to see some other characters that were just briefly mentioned in the books or the movies. Ultimately, though, this movie was a mixed bag. Like, there were some legitimately great scenes. There was some stuff that was actually building up with Grindelwald that was really interesting, really well done. Johnny Depp did a really good job as Grindelwald. I liked the stuff Jude Law had as Dumbledore, especially one scene that was kind of funny when he was teaching and they tell him he can't teach dark arts anymore. I was waiting to see if a young Snape was going to appear. Though I'm going to guess this is still way too soon for Snape because I don't know if these characters, outside of like Dumbledore and them, if they age slower than other people, because everyone seems a little bit too young to where they should be in Harry Potter. Either way, when the movie knew what it wanted to do, it was enjoyable, it was entertaining, and then when the movie didn't know what it wanted to do, it was downright boring. Like, Newt Scamander in this movie was kind of tiresome. He didn't really do anything that made me interested in his character. There are a lot of wasted scenes with him. Like, there's one scene towards the beginning of the movie where it just shows him taking care of this, like, water beast, and the entire thing was pointless. That beast never shows up again in the rest of the movie. Why did that scene need to be there? Yeah, I get that they wanted to show his good side towards these monsters, that he can love any monster and monsters love him. Cool. But we already had an entire movie dedicated to that. This one isn't supposed to be about that. As it was, this part of the movie that dealt with this aspects of Newt was just kind of boring, and it really screwed up the pacing because, the pacing is awful. There were parts that were like flew by so quickly, and then there were parts that just went on and on and on. There were these weird things like, okay, I've never read the actual Harry Potter books, but when I first saw Goblet of Fire, I said, hey, I have no idea what's going on. Why do I feel like they just crammed like maybe 100 pages into, 10, 15 minutes? And Quickie Kane said, oh, that's because they did. This movie, there's no book on this movie. It's originally made for the movies. Cool. So why the hell did I feel like the first half hour to 45 minutes of this movie as if they skipped 100 pages of a book that does not even exist? It doesn't help either that most of the chemistry is non-existent with the cast. One of the things I loved about the first movie was how everyone interacted with each other. They felt natural. They felt like they worked well together. Especially Jacob, the human who's supposed to be the exposition for the audience that doesn't know the wizarding world. In this movie, it didn't feel like he even wanted to be there. In fact, when he comes into the film, I was like, wait, that contradicts the ending to the last movie. That doesn't make sense. And they do this pseudo explanation of it. It just didn't work for me. I don't feel like he even needed to be in this movie, other than them saying, oh my god, people like Jacob, so we need to bring Jacob back for fan service. Otherwise, we're going to make some people mad if we don't. I think that's even more of a disservice to the fans. If the character does not belong in the film, don't put him in the film. Moving forward, as I said, their acting is kind of bad at times. Some of the dialogue feels forced. Ezra Miller remains as terrible as he was in the first film. He's as terrible as he was in Flash. Dude, get some frickin' acting lessons. You can't run as a superhero because you clearly don't know how to run. And get some emotions. Then again, most of these characters were pretty much dead inside, it seemed like. None of them showed any sort of emotion. And then the ones that did, you knew exactly where their story was going to go. Like in the first, 20 minutes or whatever it was when this character showed up, I said, I see where this is going. I know exactly what's going to happen at the end. Now again, that's not to say there weren't some cool scenes, because there was some stuff. There was a cool thing in the library. There was a cool scene in like this freak show and this really awesome monster that was like a lion dragon. I like the scene. Surprisingly, Johnny Depp, who I've been getting sick of over the last several years, he was really, really good as Grindelwald. I really enjoyed his performance. Another issue with the movie was the camera work, especially in the beginning where that whole thing was messy. Like, there were these really close-up facial shots of characters, which was kind of weird because it doesn't happen at all throughout the rest of the movie. So having it in this scene just felt really weird and out of place, and was like kind of like, whoa, what's going on? It was jarring, although the biggest issue of this movie comes with, well, it's a movie that is made to set up the sequels. There is nothing in this movie that is ever resolved. Nothing is done in here. The characters are just plot devices to set up the other movies, to set up things to how they're going to happen in Harry Potter, just like the vast majority of prequels. This movie suffers from prequel-itis. The movie, because of how it was going, you're like, yep, there's not going to be any true resolution, is there? And sure enough, there was no true resolution. It's all to be continued into the next movie. Why not just make it into a TV series instead of wasting your time doing movies? Because you're clearly running it to be a TV show. That's one problem that movies are just doing in general. They're high-budget TV shows, but because they're movies, you have several years in between each installment, which does get annoying after a while, especially when everybody is doing it. I love this concept of seeing the Harry Potter universe in the 20s, in the 30s. A scene that shows something that's going to happen in the future from that was pretty cool. I want to see Harry Potter in World War II. But I don't, well, not Harry Potter himself, but the characters, the universe. However, I don't want it to be where it's just trying to fit all the pieces into Harry Potter. That's the biggest mistake the Star Wars prequels made. That's the biggest mistake the Underworld prequel made. Just, if you're going to do a prequel, have some forethought, think about what you want to do, and don't force yourself to fit the pieces in where they go. If you need to have nothing but brand new characters 100% of the way, do it. Hell, Better Call Saul is a prequel to Breaking Bad, but it is taking characters, creating new ones, and just doing little things to get them along the way, but they're not letting Breaking Bad dictate their path. They're letting Better Call Saul write their path, and then eventually they'll get to the point where they are in Breaking Bad, whether we see it on screen or not. That's how you do a prequel. In the end, I am going to give Fantastic Beasts 2 a 6, a 7. A 6 or a 7 out of 10. There were some legitimate good parts, so I'll go with a 7 out of 10. Until next time, bye.